Real trust funds for every American child, allowing family members, employers, corporations, generous donors to contribute money that will be invested and grow over the course of a child's life to be used for their benefit after they turn 18. So in other words, these are children that are going to, an investment's going to be made. That investment's going to continue to grow, we hope, right? We hope. And, but it will. And they'll feel like Michael Dell someday. But at 18, they'll have a lot of money, a lot more money than they would have had, and potentially a lot of money. But these accounts will track the overall stock market and will be 100% private property controlled by the child's guardians.
I'd just like to say how excited we are to be a part of this. We believe that when children have a future that they can see is worth saving for, then that will help build hope and opportunity and prosperity for generations to come.
Well, first, it's an incredible honor to be here, and we wouldn't be here without the passage of the Invest America Act, and everybody up here today played a role in getting that done.
And I think this is a major change in philanthropy and for American working families. It is the merging of President Trump's agenda of parallel prosperity, Main Street meets Wall Street.
I'll be brief. There's a lot of symbolism here today. Right here on the eve of the 250th anniversary of the greatest nation in the history of the world. We are the greatest nation by any objective measure. We're the most free, most powerful, most successful, and most benevolent nation that's ever been. And I think what you're seeing here is another exhibit of that. This idea, this vision came about because Brad and a couple of smart guys came up with this idea, and then took a few years to sell the idea to everybody. And then these visionary legislators over here, Senator Ted Cruz and Blake Moore in the House and Jason Smith, the Ways and Means Chair, really caught the vision. And we put it into the big, beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cut.
If you woke up today thinking the world finally hit the brakes, think again, because Donald Trump just hit the stage with a speech so fiery it could melt titanium. Between the billion-dollar flexing, the global tension teasers, and the maybe not hints about Venezuela, this thing felt less like a political address and more like the season premiere of a geopolitical thriller. You could practically hear analysts nationwide choking on their coffee as he spoke. So if you're ready to dive into the chaos, the clues, the speculation, and the sparks that flew from every sentence, then sit tight, because we're breaking down 10 power-packed takeaways from Trump's explosive speech that everyone's talking about right now. Trump kicks things off by spotlighting Michael and Susan Dell's massive, jaw-dropping $6.25 billion donation delivered like they were just tipping a barista, not reshaping American philanthropy. He frames it as a defining moment for the newly minted Trump accounts, investment accounts designed to give kids financial liftoff before they even understand the stock market. Trump paints it as an effort to create a generation of future millionaires, while joking that these kids will feel like Michael Dell someday. It's a seriously flashy opener, and the room knew it. One thing is certain, Trump wanted the world to hear that dollar sign echo. And just when you think he's done bragging, oh, he's only starting. Trump shifts from philanthropy to political chest thumping, recounting how Congress supposedly doubted the possibility of fitting an entire economic agenda into one giant bill. According to Trump, he insisted on stuffing every policy, tax cut, and financial reform into a single legislative mega package. And after some hand-wringing, lawmakers agreed. He calls it a historic achievement and pats himself and Congress on the back so enthusiastically you could practically hear the applause in his own head. This moment wasn't just political storytelling. It was branding, bragging, and broadcasting all at once. But don't get too comfy, because the conversation takes a sharp turn from money to military tension. When the press confronts Trump about escalating tensions abroad, he gives the kind of answer that's less clarifying and more cliffhanger material. He doesn't confirm anything, doesn't deny anything, just drops that trademark ambiguous "we'll see what happens," which usually signals something is brewing behind the scenes. Every reporter in the room tightened up, ready to dissect any hint in his tone. Trump loves projecting strength, and this moment was classic him, suggestive, vague, and strategically unsettling. The subtext? He wants everyone, from foreign governments to domestic critics, to wonder what his next move could be. And speaking of wondering, the next question tosses Venezuela directly into the spotlight. When asked if the U.S. is preparing to strike Venezuela, Trump sidesteps harder than a running back dodging a tackle. His response? Not an answer, but a tease. Another "you'll see," layered with a confident smirk. Anyone who has watched Trump long enough knows this is code for something is definitely on the table. Considering recent sanctions, oil tensions, and diplomatic friction, the mere mention of Venezuela had analysts buzzing. Even if no strike is imminent, Trump's refusal to shut down the possibility speaks volumes. It was a calculated non-answer with global repercussions. But before reporters could dig deeper, Trump took a detour overseas, straight to Syria. Trump unexpectedly praises the new leadership in Syria, saying the country is coming a long way, which raises eyebrows because Syria rarely gets casual compliments from any U.S. president. Was he signaling confidence in the region? Was he hinting that certain military pressures might be easing? Or was this just Trump's signature improvisational riff? Whatever it meant, the timing felt interesting. If Syria is stabilizing in his view, does that free up attention for other hotspots, say Venezuela? The room definitely caught the shift, and it added a new layer of intrigue to an already tension-packed speech. And then, because this speech was basically a roller coaster, Trump pivots again. Now Trump slides into full campaign energy mode, reciting his list of wins like an undefeated team celebrating the season. He boasts about economic rebounds, massive investments, swing state victories, district votes, and past foreign policy calls. The tone? Confident, punchy, and almost taunting. He paints America as roaring back onto the global stage and positions himself as the engine driving that comeback. This wasn't just political bragging. It was Trump broadcasting strength to allies and adversaries. When a president frames himself as unstoppable, that messaging isn't domestic, it's geopolitical. And speaking of geopolitics, Trump drops another breadcrumb about South America. Trump uses this moment to hint at sanctions, pressure campaigns, and international phone calls, especially involving South America. He mentions sanctioning Brazil, then vaguely gestures toward things happening in the region. While he doesn't name Venezuela outright here, the implication hangs in the air like a foghorn blast. The U.S. is watching closely, and leverage is actively being applied. If Venezuela wasn't nervous already, this section alone would have sent their analysts scrambling for updates. And then the question, the one that made every reporter straighten up. Pressed again on potential action against Venezuela, Trump offers one of those responses that says everything by saying nothing. He dodges, shrugs, smiles, and slides right out of the question like a magician disappearing behind smoke. It was the political equivalent of I'm not saying yes, but I'm definitely not saying no. The media snapped to attention, understanding the implications. Silence can be louder than words, and Trump knows how to weaponize it. But before the room can fully process the tension, Trump goes nuclear on economic hype. Trump brags that America is booming, saying foreign leaders are calling the U.S. the hottest country anywhere. He credits tariffs, investment surges, and policy reversals. Whether you agree or not, this rhetoric sends a message globally. The U.S. is flexing. For countries like Venezuela facing sanctions, pressure, and potential scrutiny, hearing America described as an unstoppable powerhouse is not subtle diplomacy. It's intimidation through optimism. And then comes the closer, a philosophical mic drop. Trump closes by painting a picture of the future. Every child in America growing up with an investment account, experiencing compound growth, and owning a piece of the country. He frames it as both an economic strategy and a cultural identity shift. It's not just about money, it's about ideology. A nation full of young investors represents a political message too. America is building long-term strength, stability, and wealth. And for countries testing U.S. resolve, looking right at you, Venezuela, that message resonates loudly. The takeaway? Trump wants the world to know America isn't playing small. And now, it's your turn to weigh in. If this speech felt like a roller coaster of billion-dollar shocks, geopolitical teasers, and hints loud enough to rattle world capitals, then strap in, because the next chapter could be even wilder. Make sure you hit subscribe, tap the notification bell, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Trump is signaling real action toward Venezuela, or was this all strategic power posturing? Your voice matters, your perspective matters, and the conversation doesn't stop when the video ends. Stick with us here at Global Pulse News, where we break the headlines wide open and deliver the stories with the voltage they deserve. Stay alert. More big updates are on the way.